Considering many of us don't get enough vegetables in our diet, enjoying fermented vegetables is a simple way to integrate them into our meals with all the added benefits of healthy bacteria, probiotics. Now, what's more, fermented vegetables offer a different type of taste and texture compared to what we're often used to, raw and cooked. Now, if you're a newbie fermenter, nervous about the whole fermentation thing, or wondering how to solve your fermentation problems, keep watching because in today's video, I'm going to share my top tips for fermenting vegetables right at home. For those of you who are new here, welcome to my channel, Sterilize Den Dietitian on Demand, where I share diet and wellness advice that cuts through the nutritional noise and serve up healthy, delicious recipes so you can be on top of your game. Here you'll access free recipes, nutrition and wellness videos to inspire health, whenever, wherever. Okay then, let's talk a little bit about the actual process of lacto-fermentation. Fermenting vegetables is an ancient form of food preservation. And when a food undergoes fermentation, natural bacteria and/or yeast break down carbohydrates in the food to produce lactic acid. This lactic acid not only prevents food from spoilage, but research links the beneficial health effects of fermented foods to the fact they're also a source of good bacteria or probiotics. Plus, the process of fermentation breaks down many vitamins and other nutrients into more easily digestible forms and increases the palatability and nutritional quality of food. The process also destroys some anti-nutrient components of certain raw foods, such as oxalates and phytic acids. Now, you may be wondering, why is that important? Well, it's because anti-nutrients have shown to reduce the body's ability to absorb essential nutrients. Let's talk about what to ferment. Now, most lacto-fermented foods are made from raw vegetables without heat. And for those of you who are unfamiliar, lacto-fermentation may sound complicated and confusing, but it really isn't. And here are my top tips to help you ferment vegetables successfully at home. Sterilize your jars. You can do this by washing them thoroughly in warm, soapy water. And don't forget those lids. Dry them and send the jars only in the oven at 150 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 minutes. Rinse the vegetables in un-chlorinated water rather than tap water. Of course, everyone's tap water comes from different sources. What's important to note is that the water should be free of contaminants, and if the water is too mineral rich or doesn't have enough minerals, that will affect the fermentation process. Chlorinated water can inhibit fermentation, so use spring, distilled or filtered water if you can. Make sure your jars are super clean and dry before starting, and I'm using a 2-quart jar here. Prepare your vegetables, and you have several options for fermented vegetables: grating, shredding, chopping, slicing, or leaving them whole. It's really a personal choice. Considering veggies such as carrots, radishes, and beets are pretty dense, chopping these help lactic acid penetrate the vegetable. And in my fermented vegetable recipe, I chose some of my favorite colorful vegetables to get more variety. Use salt to ferment the vegetables. Salt promotes fermentation by inhibiting the growth of undesirable microorganisms and favors the growth of desirable lactobacilli bacteria. Salt also offers a slower rate of fermentation by suppressing mold. This enables cultured vegetables to be stored for longer periods of time. Plus, salt results in vegetables that are delicious and crunchy because it hardens the pectins in the vegetables. Hey, and it could be less expensive than using a starter culture kit. Use salt that is free of iodine and/or anti-caking agents which can inhibit fermentation. Now don't guess amounts and wing it. Use measuring jugs, weighing scales, and measuring spoons for best results. Ensure that all the vegetables are fully submerged in the salt water. You can add some more on top to cover the vegetables completely. And don't forget to label the jar with the date you started fermentation. That way, you're not left guessing. Seasons do matter. In the summer, the vegetables will ferment faster than the winter, where it could take up to 7 days. If you notice mold at the top, discard it. Remember, the top of your vegetables in the jar is exposed to oxygen, which can promote yeast and mold growth, but everything below the brine should be fine because of an oxygen-free environment. I leave my jars out on the counter for 2 to 3 days around 72 degrees Fahrenheit before moving it into the fridge. Okay, now here are my best tips that will help you to know if your vegetables are successfully fermented. Look for bubbles. The lactic acid fermentation process produces bacteria that release gases when they feast on those vegetables. These gases are often visible as bubbles after a few days at room temperature. Trust your nose. Opening the jar after a few days may release a sour, vinegary aroma. Taste the tanginess. Tasting your veggies will also confirm if they are ready to be moved to the fridge. They should taste tangy and delicious. Always use a clean spoon when serving versus eating out of the jar. You want to avoid contaminating the entire batch with germs from your mouth. Now, once in the fridge, these will keep for several months. Fermented foods in general offer so much variety and match well with pretty much any dish. Here are some of my suggestions you may want to try. At breakfast, add yogurt, kefir, or buttermilk to your smoothies or oatmeal. Top eggs or avocado toast with fermented salsa vegetables. For lunch or dinner, add fermented vegetables like kimchi to sandwiches, burgers, and wraps. Make a soup with miso paste. Add sauerkraut to top coleslaws and salads. Why not add kimchi to stir-fried dishes? Use miso for sauces, marinades, and dressings. Make tempeh burgers as a plant-based alternative to animal-based protein. If you want to create fermented vegetables on your own, try my recipe. I'll leave the link in the description box. Until next time, health seekers, be well. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up or leave me a comment. I'd love to know what nutrition and diet related topics you want me to dive into next. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to be a super subscriber, turn on that notification bell so you never miss another video.